Hello, 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 hello again, Baltimore. Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the weekly Employee Baltimore show, brought to you by the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. I am your host for today's episode. My name is Darrell Falls. I am one of two workforce supervisors in the Employee Services Division. Thank you for joining us and tuning in with us today. Folks, please hit the like button, share this link on Facebook, hashtag Employee Baltimore Show. We have some exciting information coming your way today. Each Wednesday, you can join us right here on the Employee Baltimore Show at 1 p.m. live as we bring you the most current and up-to-date information on employment and training opportunities. Folks, last week, we introduced this month as the Construction Career Month. That's right. This is the Construction Careers Month. All month, we're going to share with you opportunities how you can work and train in the construction industry. Last week, we shared information regarding 4 major development projects happening right here in Baltimore City. And those projects are seeking skilled and talented Baltimore City residents to work right now. So if you're not skilled and talented to work right now, stay with us today on this show because I'm going to show you how you can get those skills, get those talents so you can get on those job sites. And guess what? These jobs are paying some terrific salaries. So sit back, stay with us. Join us every week on this show, the Employee Baltimore Show, where you can get the best updates on all current jobs and opportunities. Today, we're going to shift gears just a bit because we're going to introduce to you a great local employer. This local employer have jobs right now. So stay tuned, y'all. Share this link. Share. Put this on your social media pages. Share this with your friends. Share this with your relatives. We need to let people know about all these great job opportunities, folks. We will also talk with 3 experts in the field of apprenticeships and construction training. One of the things we do here at MOED, we understand that it's important for you to get a job. We know the importance and the value of having that job. But guess what we also know? We also know if you can get a certification, if you can get the right training, if you can get the right credentials, you can be more successful in getting a good job. So we're going to also always offer you information about both jobs and trainings, because across every industry sector, there are certifications that you need to be successful in those sectors. As always, again, share, and let everybody know about what we're doing here today. Hit them hashtags, Employee Baltimore Show, Construction Hiring Month, folks. This is the month to get those construction jobs, all right? Guess what else you can do? If you want to connect to these jobs, we have a user-friendly webpage. moed.baltimorecity.gov. Very user-friendly webpage. You can go on that page and see hundreds of job opportunities right now. And you can connect to those jobs immediately. And guess what? We have 10 employer services representatives who are eager to assist you and reach out to you once you apply for those jobs. So click on that link, folks, moed.baltimorecity.gov. When you're ready to find that next great opportunity, that next great career, the link is right there for you. Please join us and connect with us. If you are a local employer and you're seeking good quality candidates, and you're looking for a great agency to partner with that will help you with your recruitment needs, send MOED an email at employeebaltimore@OEDworks. Let our team of qualified industry experts see what we can do to help you with your current and your future hiring needs. Folks, connect with us. Whether you are a candidate looking for a job, whether you are an employer looking for a great candidate, connect with MOED today. Let us offer our services to you. And guess what, employers? Our services are free. We are eager to support your recruitment and hiring needs. Folks, I'm going to let you guys know something. we're in a hiring season right now. There are so many employers right now that are looking for great candidates. Right now is a big hiring season. If you're looking to work right now, there is nothing standing in your way. So please stay connected to us each week. Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to present to you the most updated information on jobs. This is the show you want to tune into every week, the Employee Baltimore Show. Again, share this with your friends. We need this to go all over Baltimore City, folks. All right. Now, like I said, this is a very, very special show for me today, because not only are we going to be talking about jobs, we're going to be talking about training as well. And I'm about to introduce a gentleman who is deeply committed to hiring Baltimore City residents. And not just committed to hiring, but also committed to training and growing great talent that comes out of Baltimore. But before I introduce my first guest, let me give a quick shout out to my producer behind the scenes, making this show as flawless and as sharp as she is, my co-worker, our great communications and social media guru, Miss Ollie Lima, who works in our MOED communications department. Thank you, Ollie, so much, sis, for making this show flawless and making this show open to everyone. You're truly appreciated. I want to introduce my first guest, and I like to call him my friend, because no matter when we invite this gentleman to participate in our career events, our recruitment events, our job fairs, this gentleman always shows. In fact, I can almost call him one of our most reliable workforce partners. I want to introduce to everyone in Baltimore my friend, Mr. Joe Myberger, Vice President and Office Manager from ECS Mid-Atlantic LLC. Joe, thank you, my friend, for joining me today on the Employee Baltimore Show. Thank you so much. This is truly a treat to have you on this show with me, brother.
Absolutely, Daryl, and I appreciate the opportunity. You've certainly been a friend to me, as well as a resource, a very important resource to ECS for all of our projects that we have, had over the last couple of years and continue to have in city of Baltimore. It's funny because you were mentioning some of the past guests that you've had on this show before. There are many folks that we are doing work with. We've been working with Maryland Stadium Authority on Baltimore City Schools projects, doing testing and inspections. We've also been working with commercial construction on the first couple phases of the Somerset project. So these are clients of ours. These are projects of ours that are important projects in the city of Baltimore. We're also working on the new Brewers Hill apartments that are being constructed, as well as the renovation of Lexington Market. Very important, very exciting project for the city of Baltimore. And just, a very brief, intro to what we do is, on the construction side, we are providing testing and inspections of the work, the materials that is being used to, just to make sure that the construction is happening in a safe and appropriate manner in accordance with the design.
Absolutely. Joe, when I'm always talking to folks about the jobs that your team do, what you perform on construction sites, I always kind of do a lab technician comparison. Like, these are scientists on a construction site. What exactly do the material field technician do? Tell us about that job, because this is not a well-known job. When I talk to folks about it, they was like, oh, you can just go and work on a construction site and test. Tell us about that a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, so we're actually a consulting engineering company. I'm a licensed professional engineer. We have 3 other professional engineers in our office. But engineers are responsible for making sure that projects are designed and constructed in a safe manner. And that is what our technicians do on a daily basis. They are out on project sites. They're taking samples of things like concrete, compacted soil. They're running tests on those samples. They're doing inspections of structural steel, sprayed fireproofing, masonry, mortar and grout, asphalt and stone subbase for paving. There's a lot of different materials that are used in the construction process, and they have to be sourced and provided in an appropriate fashion with engineering properties that were accounted for in the design. There are tolerances for, you know, concrete as far as its flow potential or viscosity, you know, compaction of the soil, moisture content of the soil. Those are all things that we're testing.
Yeah.
And we're not actually, our inspectors are not responsible for building the work, but they are responsible for testing it and inspecting it.
To me, it seemed very, very important that you guys test the materials that are being used to build buildings that folks walk, live, and breathe in. So I'm thinking that you guys are the most important aspect of any construction development site. Ollie, can we cue the video so folks can get a good glance at what our great folks at the ECS Mid-Atlantic does? Can we cue that? I'm not hearing the sound. So I'm not hearing the sound, Joe. You can see the video. Can you kind of give us a kind of a walkthrough of what we're looking at?
Yeah, sure thing. So the project sites are going to vary as far as what we're doing. I mean, you see residential construction, you see, you know, large earthwork operations. You know, this is some of the sampling and testing that we do of concrete. This is a moisture density gauge that we're using to check compaction on soils and asphalt. So this is a piece of equipment that we're using in the field. It's part of a paving operation, making sure that they meet the proper compaction requirements so that the street holds up over time. An important, you know, aspect of what we do is the reporting. When we're out on a project site, we're issuing a daily field report. And that field report goes to all members of the project team. It's going to go to the architect, the structural engineer, a lot of times the civil engineer, the contractor, the owner's representative, and a lot of times the county or city, you know, officials with the building department. You know, just mentioning briefly our benefits package, you know, in addition to medical, dental, vision, we've got a great 401k program. We provide a company match. The first 4% that you contribute to retirement, you get a company match. We are an employee stock ownership program. So we will, you know, distribute shares of company stock to all of our employees. We want them to become employee owners of us. They're not shares of stock that they have to purchase. Those are distributed over a vesting period. We also provide a tuition assistance program. You know, it doesn't require an engineering degree. You don't have to have any college degree to come to work at ECS, just an interest in being outdoors, working on construction sites, and having some interest in, you know, science, engineering, and math. But if you do decide at some point that you are interested in going to school, becoming an engineer, getting on track to become an engineer, we can help you with that. We have a tuition assistance program if you're interested in pursuing a related degree in civil engineering or structural engineering or geology. Those are opportunities that we want to make available for our hardworking members.
Great. I see you guys use the word grit in your video: guts, resilience, initiative, tenacity. How are you looking for candidates that are passionate about construction, that really want to learn the construction from an entry level standpoint? You're not looking for folks to come in to know a lot, but you're going to train them and give them certifications. Can you talk to us about how you bring candidates in that know absolutely nothing about this and then bring them up throughout that company? How does that work? Because I really love what you guys do over there.
So training is a very important part of, you know, the ECS experience. When you come to work at ECS, you know, like I said, many of our technicians don't have prior experience. They may have an interest in the construction field, but have never done what we do. And we have all of our employees complete training that is geared toward passing certifications. And those certifications are administered externally. The American Concrete Institute, different engineering laboratory accreditation agencies. But we provide all of the training. It's some classroom training, but a significant component of it is on-the-job training. It's shadowing somebody who's been with ECS for a while, that has experience, that can show all the sampling and testing methodologies. The exams, we administer them here in our office. We will also send folks to different test locations. We pay our employees for their training. When you sign on to work at ECS, you start generating a paycheck immediately. You don't have to go out and prove yourself getting certifications. All you have to do is come aboard with us and, be willing to learn. You're going to learn in the classroom. You're going to learn on the job site, but you're paid for your training. You're paid for your time sitting the certification exams. We pay the cost of the certification exams for our employees who start with us, because that is an important part of their development and their growth as members of the company.
And a part of those certifications are their salary increases attached to those completions of those certifications. Talk to us about that. And what do a person need to have to start working with your company?
Right. So our starting pay for someone with no prior training, experience, or certifications, we start at $15 an hour. You do need to have access to reliable transportation. You have to have high school GED equivalency, and some of the tasks that you'd be asked to perform on a project site, particularly picking up a sample of soil or samples of concrete, you've got to be able to lift 60, 70, 80 pounds periodically. So there are some rigors of the job. But as far as once you come aboard with us and you start training, again, you're paid for your training. Once you pass each certification, there is a programmed pay increase that you receive. And certifications will carry increases of anywhere from 50 cents to $1 per hour. Some specialized certifications carry even higher pay increases. But the bottom line is, if you start with us at $15 an hour, we have a path that gets you through doing nothing other than passing certifications to where you can get to $19.50 an hour. And beyond that, it's up to you, to map out a path, what additional certifications beyond what we have a programmed pay increase. We still provide pay increases for, high level advanced certifications. But really, it's up to you once you get through the first, half dozen certifications and you get to that level, what direction you want to go. I see the construction technician position as being a great gateway to the field of engineering. We've got inspectors that are highly specialized in structural steel and fireproofing, highly specialized in building envelope systems, highly specialized in code compliance. And these are all, avenues that you can branch out into within the field of construction that provide great long-term career opportunities.
Absolutely. Now, we, with employers today, and we're working with our justice involved population to help them get second chances, even sometimes third chances, to help them get a career path. How is ECS with justice involved candidates?
So we do not administer any type of background check as a condition of employment. We do not ask the question. It is not relevant to our decision making when we are, looking at potentially bringing someone aboard. We do ask the question of our current employees for no other reason than there are project sites such as Baltimore City Schools where we cannot send somebody who has, certain things in their background. So I can promise you the question will likely be asked, but only after someone has already come aboard with us. We do not make that a question that we ask as part of the screening or interview process, because there is plenty of work that we have going on where there will never be a background requirement box that has to be checked. And if you have something in your past and you come aboard with us, it's not going to have any bearing on your ability to advance. That is based on how well you do your job, what certifications you're able to obtain. We've got some great folks that work with us that have had numerous second, third, fourth chances. I think a lot of us probably, if we're brutally honest, would admit that we're where we're at in our career because somebody gave us a second chance. Absolutely. And that's very important to me. It's very important to everyone here at ECS.
Absolutely. How about women? Construction has always seemed to be slighted towards the male gender. How does women fare working with a good company like ECS, Joe?
They do great. They do fantastic. We've got some great ladies who are working with us at all levels in the field, out on job sites, as project managers, as engineers, business development professionals, really all levels. I think the construction and engineering community as a whole has been rather introspective over the last several years about what we can do as an industry to make the industry more approachable for everyone, all genders.
Absolutely.
It's important to us. It's something that I know we feel very passionate about, and quite honestly, we are a better organization for them.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great to know. Folks, ECS Mid-Atlantic has jobs right now. Right now, Joe, you're hiring, right?
Yes.
So, folks, if you're interested in working at ECS Mid-Atlantic, on May 25th, you can meet Joe or his team members at our WebEx event. We're hosting the construction job fair on May the 25th. It's virtual. You can meet with his team and actually interview on that day. So we're going to share more information about that. But if you can't wait till the 25th, you can send me a resume right now. Joe, can you talk a little bit about what the requirements are? What are the requirements for a person that's listening right now and say, you know what, I want to apply for that job?
Yeah, so again, there's no education requirements. We're an engineering company, but our field technicians don't have to have an engineering degree. Just high school or GED equivalency. You do have to be 18 years of age. Due to the nature of some of the work out on project sites and in our laboratory, you have to be 18 years of age. You do have to have reliable transportation. You've got to have, an automobile doesn't have to be registered or titled in your name, but it's got to be available for your use, because not all of our project sites, unfortunately, are located off of mass transit. And the equipment that, our folks are using, it'll fit in the back of any automobile. So it's not like you have to have a van or a pickup truck, just a standard, passenger vehicle. That's reliable and available for your use. You have to have a relatively clean driving record, active driver's license and automobile insurance. And like I said, the ability to occasionally lift, as much as 60 to 80 pounds, a couple times over the course of the day. It's not something you'd be doing all day, every day, but just something that you'd have to be prepared to do a couple times over the course of your day.
And one of the other great things I love about your company, these are full-time jobs. You don't do any layoffs even in the winter months.
We do not. And I'll tell you right now, there is a lot of overtime to be had. Our folks who are here working, there are projects that are working weekends, that are working Saturdays. Some of them even are working a couple Sundays. And it's not something that you're compelled to work 7 days a week, but the hours and the work is available to the folks who want it. And, even if you're working just Monday through Friday, a lot of those folks are getting a healthy amount of overtime because construction will start, frequently at 7 in the morning, and they may not wrap up until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is really the prime time of year to be, working at ECS in the field, getting hours, getting overtime.
There it is, folks. This is the right time right now to get these jobs. Again, on May the 25th, you can join ECS Mid-Atlantic on our construction virtual event at 10 a.m. Send me an email. Send me your resume if you want to get connected to this employer. Joe, I really, 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 really appreciate your time with us, man, today. And I really appreciate you joining me. And I know we're going to continue working together in the future. And we are always continue sending you great candidates. And like I said, folks, I've sent folks to Joe. I've sent folks to ECS. They're still working there doing great work, and they love the work, and you will too. Thank you again, Joe. Again, folks, this is what we do. This is what we do at the Employee Baltimore Show every Wednesday, bring you great employers like ECS Mid-Atlantic so that you can connect to a job. This month, I themed this month as Let Us Build Baltimore Back Together. We can build Baltimore back together, folks. Right now, there are too many jobs to even really count around Baltimore City that are in need of skilled laborers, master plumbers, electricians, drywall installers, concrete, cement masons. But we can't build Baltimore back without the skills and the talent that we need to build. If you have young people graduating high school, considering their next step for the future, ask them about the construction trades, folks. They will always hear about information technology, healthcare, manufacturing. They will hear about all these different trades. But guess what? Construction is the trade you really want to get into. Every time I have guests over my house, the first thing they do is try to find a plug they can plug their phone into so they can charge their phone up. If that electricity do not come through that plug, you can't call help desk for that. You cannot call help desk. You got to call you an electrician. You can have all the computers that you want in the world, but you must have a structure around those computers to operate those computers. You must have someone in the construction trades to build that shelter for you. So construction is the building block of all industries, and this is the field that will never go away, folks. And guess what? We have 3 more great individuals coming on who understand the need and the value for construction trades. There is an infrastructure conversation happening right now. I know you guys are watching the news. Primarily, these are going to be building jobs, roads, bridges, highways. We're going to need a whole pool of folks that can do this work. And how can we get these skills today for those jobs that are coming tomorrow? Well, here to join me in this conversation is 3 powerful voices. And I mean powerful voices and champions in trades and apprenticeships. Joining me right now is Miss Melissa Wells, Director, Apprenticeships and Training, Baltimore's DC Building Trades. Jermaine Jones, Director, Baltimore DC Building Trades Council. And Tommy McLaughlin, Director of AFL-CIO Community Services of Central Maryland. Hello, my 3 friends. Listen, to me, this is historical. I can't take a picture of it, but seeing these 3 great faces on here with me today, I was excited all day about this show. I couldn't wait to sit down with you 3 great folks, because one of the most important things we need right now is to get our folks trained for these billions and billions and billions of dollars of development that's about to flow through Baltimore City. We need a healthy pipeline of ready trained candidates, Melissa. And I know that the Baltimore DC Building Trades has taken on a huge task of ensuring that women, minorities, veterans, and underserved community members benefit from those investments. Tell me right now, what is your group doing to close that skilled trade gap, Melissa?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's part of why we also are joined today by Tommy McLaughlin and Jermaine Jones. But one, I also just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you, Darrell, for your passion, and also I think just for being such a powerful, positive voice for the trades. I think you set it up perfectly when you talked about how important the trades are in terms of building and construction and design, and
Yes.
how you can't connect your phone to that wall socket and expect it to charge unless you have reliable, safe, and working electrical outlet. So I want to
Yep.
just take the opportunity to really thank you for that passion and for encouraging
Yes.
our young people, our parents, our loved ones to really look at the possibilities of a pathway in the building and construction trades. And just as he said, I'm Melissa Wells. I'm the director of the apprenticeship and apprenticeship readiness for the Baltimore DC building trade unions.
Yes.
And a really big focus that we're doing is conversations like this right now, working with the mayor's office of employment development, working with other partners like the Community Services of Central Maryland, Baltimore City Community College,
Mm-hmm.
Goodwill Industries, you name. I mean, so many our schools. We're working with so many partners to get the word out about the building trades, to make sure that we're getting our young people into the trades when they leave school. That way, they have access to a viable career path. To get individuals that are historically underemployed, that are looking for a career change, looking for something positive that's going to really be able to provide a family sustainable wage, helping individuals who have had contact or still have contact with the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
They're looking for another opportunity to really, to get their lives back on track. And so we never
Absolutely.
ever shy away from providing opportunities for them, and also women. I
Yep.
heard you previously talk about
That's right.
women. you know our numbers can always be better. There's a long road ahead of us in terms of getting more women to see the value of a career in construction, but there are women out there who are really doing well and thriving in this industry. And
Yes.
so at every opportunity to lift up those stories, to have them talk to our students, to have our young men and young women see that women are in the industry is powerful. And I
That's
think
right.
it does a lot to break down the perception that it's only a male dominated industry.
Exactly. Definitely. Definitely. Tommy, let me ask you, if a person is interested into the construction trades, where would they start? What's the best starting point for a young person right now, or anyone? Because construction, you can enter construction at any period of your life. That's how diverse the field of construction is. What would be a good starting point for someone?
Well, yeah, I'll let Melissa talk a little bit more about apprenticeships and the different pathways, but each trade has its own apprenticeship program. And one thing that I'm able to help with throughout the year is running apprenticeship readiness classes. Um, so anyone can directly apply to any of the programs. The carpenters, the plumbers and steam fitters, the electricians, bricklayers, insulators. There's so many in this region. All great unions, great apprenticeship programs, and all of them are also a part of putting on the 3-week classes that I coordinate and partner with the Building Trades Council on. So, that you can apply directly, or you can also come through the 3-week class. Our goal is to prepare our graduates for success and for careers. And so sometimes there's a little bit extra needed as far as education about the trades, specific certifications like OSHA 10 and
Mm-hmm.
firearms first aid, um, math, construction math, uh, interview skills. They call them the soft skills, the things like being on time and really being teachable. In our 3-week class, there's only 2 classes a year, but we've been successful with really developing each individual in the class, knowing that they bring certain skill sets to the class, and some strengths and also some weaknesses, and that's just part of it. So, regardless of your age, we have had 17-year-olds in the pre-apprenticeship.
Mm.
We've had 46-year-olds, multiple, that have gone on to apprenticeships and are successful as apprentices right now. So it's definitely an opportunity for a second chance, but also for a first chance too,
Mm-hmm.
as there's a real need for apprentices and journey workers down the road. So
Yes.
if you're a young person and you're ready for a career move, it's definitely I would say a wise choice to invest the time in it now, and go directly into an apprenticeship or join an apprenticeship readiness class like the one we have coming up next month.
And Melissa and Jermaine, in the past, the unions and apprenticeships weren't always minority women friendly. What's changed now that it's more open for marginalized populations? What's changed?
So I guess I'll start. So I think one of the biggest things is that we have made diversity and inclusion a priority. And so with that, I came onto the trades 5 years ago. That's part of my passion and the reason why I left my job in the nonprofit sector to come into labor and to work for the trades is because I
Mm-hmm.
saw that need and I saw that there was a commitment and a concerted effort to actually do that. A big part of our ability to create a network to start to create a recruitment pipeline from the communities that were excluded in the past
Mm-hmm.
is the pre-apprenticeship program as well, because that's able to help individuals that have less experience. I think also, as Tommy was talking, I think the other thing too is that we're also looking for individuals that may already have journey level certification or that have
Mm-hmm.
that maybe already have high level skills or mid level skills in construction, because there's a shortage of those individuals as well. And if they're looking for a career change, looking for perhaps even access to better benefits, more consistent wages and progressive wages and retirement or pension,
Mm-hmm.
please come. Let's please indicate. Send your resume over to MOED and let's have a conversation, because we also need individuals that have experience as well as getting those who are newer and interested in the field.
Absolutely. And for
If I could,
salaries,
if,
okay,
I
Jermaine,
was
go ahead,
gonna,
my
if
brother.
I can piggyback off what Melissa was saying,
Mm-hmm.
as far as there's a definitely more concerted effort to be diverse and inclusive in the trades now, especially in the Baltimore region. But if you
Mm-hmm.
look at other regions and other states, I mean, it happened years ago, and I think, and unfortunately, sometimes it takes people a little more time to realize, that the more inclusive I am, that helps me out as well. And
Yes.
that's what the trades actually learned here in the Baltimore region, and are just want to open up the opportunity for everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's not even that it was closed before, but being more willing to put what you have out there. Like
Right.
when you have a great product and you believe in it, sometimes you feel like you don't have to promote it.
Right.
And what I always talked about, one way I describe what the apprenticeships are, I always called them the best kept secret. Because growing up, when I was in high school, I didn't know about apprenticeships. I didn't know that if I didn't want to go to college, I could do a 4-year apprenticeship that was actually 5-year apprenticeship that was completely free. And at the end of it, I could come out making 70, 90 grand and have no student loans.
Yes.
And now, they don't really know when you grow up in that no one knows about it. And you like, I got this great product. Why should I go out here and have to advertise it? But,
Yeah.
now they're like, look, we got to let everyone know about it, because the more
Mm-hmm.
people who know about it, the better off we are. And the more we're
And
going to
let's
grow as
talk
an
about
organization.
those salaries. A lot of times you enter apprenticeships on a minimum wage salary. Is that across the board, or is that a misconception? When you're entering an apprenticeship, where are you starting as far as salaries, folks?
So, I guess as far as salaries, typically the lowest you'll start at is $15 to $17 an hour. And so,
Mm-hmm.
basically, what it is as a first year apprentice, there is called a journey level wage, which for individuals in construction, journey level is the certification, and it means that you command a certain wage. Typically, that wage is on par with what the local area cost of living would be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I won't go into all of that right now because that's a whole nother conversation. But be that as it may, though, what happens is every year for an apprentice, as you continue to get more skill and more experience, your
Mm-hmm.
wage your wage goes until you top out at at that journey level wage. Like Jermaine was saying, in some case, some of them is, $70,000, $90,000 a year. Roughly, that could be from like $30 an hour to around $47, $50 an hour almost, depending on what it is. And also, I think something that, in terms of best kept secret, is the other piece is that you have your wage, which you take in your pocket, and then you have your health care, and you have your retirement pension, and that's separate. So they don't take that out of your wage, right? Most employers will take it out. It comes out of my paycheck, right? So there's actually your wage that goes in your pocket, and that's really because of the commitment of our employer partners, and this cannot be possible without the contractors and employers that we work with who are invested in paying good wages and also committed to having a separate pot of funding for each employee that covers their retirement, that covers their health care.
And folks, guess what? No debt for joining an apprenticeship.
Yep.
And you come out on par with someone with a college degree and maybe a little better. Is that safe to say that even
better?
Yes,
a lot better? What you think, Tommy?
I would say often it's better. I mean, and that's just me judging off of knowing where I've been and my peers have been who graduated from school. I like to give the example of my friend in college, my track teammate who was my roommate, and had a lot of pressure to go to college, be the first one in his family, graduate college, and very smart, but hated school. And he came out after getting his degree and became a union plumber. And it's not just being able to make the make a great wage and have health insurance for his family and have a pension and an annuity, and have work, through the union hall. But it's that he loves what he does every day, and there's no shame in that. And you need people who work with their hands, and construction workers are smart,
Yes.
And we I think that we have not talked about non-college career paths enough for maybe even a whole generation. And so, it's a good time to definitely let young people, but also transitioning adults know that these opportunities do exist.
Exactly.
And when you're ready for the opportunity, there's something that's there for you.
And what about accessibility? It seemed to me that a lot of the great apprenticeships are you got to have a car to get to these locations. Are we doing anything to kind of close that gap into being able to get folks closer to these apprenticeships, get them, get these apprenticeships closer to the folks who are going to really take advantage of them? I see some great apprenticeships, but they're so far away for some folks to get to. How do we get folks to bring those opportunities a little closer to home?
So it's twofold. One of the biggest problems is just, for example, if we had an apprenticeship building right in the heart of the city, while there are some apprenticeships that are in the city, they may do their training there, but their opportunities will be outside of the city. One of the challenges, you can train people all day, but unless you have the job opportunities to put them on, they're only going to be but so successful. And one thing we don't want to do is set people up for failure. So one of the requirements for transportation isn't necessarily to receive the training. It's more so to allow you to take advantage of the training, because a lot of our jobs are outside of Baltimore City, because those are the ones where our contractors feel like they could be more competitive, because you don't have as many contractors trying to race to the bottom, where they're paying decent wages, where they're also paying health care, where they're also paying benefits. And that's one thing we're trying to do in Baltimore, is change the narrative. But let's not do business where the lowest contractor gets it, because that lowest contractor is only cheating the worker. Let's look at best value contracting. Let's look for contractors who are maybe locally based, or maybe that are also providing apprenticeship training. Give them a couple extra points because they're providing benefits, because they're also providing some kind of retirement and healthcare. Because if they don't provide those things, it's going to be up to the city on the back end to provide them for them as well. So you may pay a small percentage on the front end, but in the long term, you're saving as a city a lot more money. So we're trying to have conversations with the city now on best value, so we can promote those good contractors who to do work in the city and provide opportunities to do work, so that we can maybe train someone and put someone to work who live in the city and doesn't have transportation. Because the key part is making sure that they can get to work. But we're having, you know, conversations with organizations like Vehicles for Change as well. And we're also in the process of looking to try to set up find an apprenticeship location for one of our locals in Baltimore City. But that's just one of the hurdles. Is just making sure even afterwards we can actually put them to work and get them there.
And what are some of the other requirements? Yes.
I just wanted to underscore, because I was listening to Joe from ECS, and construction, you know, similarly, the industry is not always on a transit line, or when the projects begin, when your workday begins, is not at a time when public transit is reliable or will be able to get you there in time. So I think that, you know, the nature of the industry is still very reliant on access to a vehicle, whether it's a vehicle that you can, you know, borrow or what have you. And so we are still trying to, you know, work on ways to improve that. But there's an element of the industry that relies on people having access to vehicle.
And what are some of the other requirements? Is it still necessarily for all apprenticeships to have a GED or high school diploma? Is that still a industry standard that you must have completed high school or GED?
So there's different requirements with regard to the high school, the GED for the various programs. That's also why we do partner with a lot of you know, partners in Baltimore City that are able to help individuals get their GED or high school diploma equivalent. The other piece is being able to pass the drug tests. That's not a requirement that the union, or that's a requirement of the employer and of whoever the owner of that project is. But also part of that is really focused around safety. And I know how prevalent marijuana use is. But even unfortunately, whenever you get tested, it's not as if they can, like with alcohol, see what your level is and identify when you were drinking or partaking. So it's a really you know, pass-fail system. And so I think it's just important, you know, it's important for us to work safely, but the way that they will test if you were under the influence is a urine sample, and that is a pass-fail system. But those are the main ones. Definitely rely. I mean, I think the biggest thing, and Tommy can add more to this, but just a willingness to, you know, people that are eager to work, that are, you know, passionate about being there, that can deal with, you know, the very labor intensive element of construction, the long hours. It's physically intensive. You know, you'll be in the elements when it's really cold, when it's really hot, you know, some days. So those are some of the things that we just let people know to expect. And if that's something that doesn't bother them, I know I could never do it. I'll be honest. I don't do the heat. I don't do the cold. But I know that there are plenty of people who do. And they have a very fulfilling career doing that.
Yes. You know, I talk to a lot of the younger folks in my family who seem like they've grown up inside the house with remote controls. And, you know, it's like getting them outside on those construction sites is almost a new experience for a lot of them, because they kind of didn't have that childhood I had where everything was outside. You know, you was outside from birth till you became a teenager. You didn't have much in the house. But this is a generation that has seemed to be very, very focused on IT and information technology, and I'm trying to get them to see construction is so lucrative and valuable. So Jermaine, what would you say about that?
I would say even then, someone who grew up with a remote control or video games, you know, playing it, construction, I wouldn't even say is not for you. You know, it could be for you as well. There was a contractor who was doing a lot of work, the sewer work in the city. You know, replacing your old pipes, because they're the disintegrate the city has on replacing majority of these water lines, and because they're so old, some of them been in the ground since World War I. Well, guess what? One of the hardest skills the contractor had is finding someone who know how to use the camera that goes underground and look at the pipe and seeing how corroded it was, because you have people who worked out in the field forever but they're not used to using this joystick and using your hand-eye coordination and moving the controller right or left because they can't get in the ground. So it's finding those young candidates, you know, people who are used to using a controller, but you got to do a little bit of both, you know. So I would say it's not saying just because you play video games, it's not for you. It's the nuances. Construction is changing where now you got to use controllers, drones, and all types of stuff. So I would say if you're interested at all, take a look, you know, just to see if anything, you know, piques your interest. You know, there's so many different crafts out here that someone could find something interesting.
And what's happening in the? Are you recruiting right now, Tommy, for a new pre-apprenticeship class? Is that class coming up soon? What can you tell us about what you got coming up?
Yes, we have. We run a class. Last year was a little bit different. We ran our second class in August because of everything that was going on. But we ran a class in March and a class in June, and so the next class will be June 7th. We are. You know, we're looking, you know, for people who have the requirements Melissa talked about. We really, you know, we really want to prepare our graduates to be able to go into any apprenticeship.
Exactly.
The great thing that's happened is there, you know, our graduates have plenty of opportunities, and then, you know, you have the high class problem of deciding, you know, which path you want to go, which career path, which trade. Definitely get a lot of exposure to the directors, instructors from the schools as
that's great.
Partners in the class, teaching pieces of the curriculum, and also visits to the schools and just presentations. So that connection is there. But we're really looking for like Jermaine, you know, was saying too. It's like, you know, this is even if you don't have the skill set yet, but you know you like to work with your hands, that's okay. You're going to be earning while you're learning.
That's right.
And you know, if you want a career in this, you know, you have the right attitude, you're teachable. You can be on time. That's major. You know, be every day. Definitely the transportation piece. Be a great opportunity. We have a lot of successful apprentices and stories. You know, we're actually going to have our last information session this evening. So I don't have a direct link. I actually could put it. I don't know if I could put it in the chat and have it go out. But that's about an hour long. We'll have graduates and instructors and different partners on the call to really explain what we do, what the next steps are, and you know, like Melissa and Jermaine said, this is a kind of a best kept secret. So even while we're discussing the Raising the Bar program and apprenticeship readiness work, we're also just letting people know that these opportunities exist. If somebody's not prepared right now, that's okay, but they're, you know, it's unfortunate about the vehicle, you know, in some ways, but we're going to be honest with people because we're really trying to prepare them to succeed, not only in an apprenticeship, but in a career.
And this is going to be virtual, or is this in person?
This will be virtual. It'll be on this evening, so I can send the link. If anyone looks up Metro Baltimore AFL-CIO on Facebook, there is a flyer on there with a link to sign up for this evening's info session. It's not a requirement, but I would recommend it. And I'll also give the number here as well. If anybody wants to reach out to me directly, I'm happy to get them signed up for this evening or talk more about next steps. We have, you know, we'll be starting our we do a basic math and reading testing. We're going to be starting that later this week. But the number here is 410-247-4898, and my name is Tommy. So if you know anyone wants to reach out to me directly about the program, I'd be happy to help answer questions.
Ollie just put it on the screen. You can reach out to Tommy, folks, to this afternoon you can get connected to his program. If you want to get into pre-apprenticeship, you can do that. We have another event coming up on May the 24th. We're having a trades and apprenticeship program that will be virtual. We have a lot of apprenticeship opportunities coming your way this month. May the 24th, we're having apprenticeship event that'll be virtual. We have a bunch of apprenticeships and unions that's going to be attending. You can come on that event to talk to them and get connected. These are some serious jobs, folks. Every time I see the salaries for some of these job orders that are coming to me, it makes me think and wish I would have jumped into construction years ago. These are some serious salaries. And guess what? Once you get into that apprenticeship, you come out making a good salary, but you don't have any debt. The only debt you have is the debt you incur when you buy your first home after being connected to the apprenticeships. Also, we're going to have a job fair for construction employers on May the 25th. That will be virtual as well. And as I mentioned last week, we have a job fair with a great partner, Commercial Construction, on May the 18th. This will also be virtual. We're looking for candidates that live in the 21215 zip code. We're looking for folks that will help build the Renaissance Rowing Park Heights. Folks, the jobs are here. The opportunities are here. I would like to seriously thank Melissa Wells, Joe Mayberger, Tommy McLaughlin, Jermaine Jones. Listen, thank you guys for joining me today. This was great. This was a great conversation. Melissa, I know you wear a couple of different hats, and I really appreciate the fact that you were able to join us today. You know you're always in my heart. And we will be seeing each other again in some meetings, I'm sure, because 21st Century Schools is moving, and I'm loving it. Again, I'm loving the jobs that are coming from that program. And so this is about connecting our folks to these great jobs. And you guys, I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything you do for Baltimore City residents. Jermaine, nice meeting you. Hopefully, we'll get to see each other soon in person. Everybody stay safe. Again, Baltimore City, the Employee Baltimore show, every Wednesday, 1 o'clock. You come here to hear about all updated jobs, all updated activities that's due with training, and we're here to connect you to those opportunities. Thank you all so much, and I appreciate you dearly. Ollie, thank you for a great job in producing, my sister. I'll see you again at the next meeting. All right. Everyone has a beautiful, beautiful